What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another very exciting episode of the Viall Files Bachelor in Paradise Recap Edition, and we have a very special guest for you. The one and only Lance Bass is with us, helping us break down these two episodes. Also, the wonderful host of Tuesday's episode. Lance, welcome. Great to have you. Excited to break this down with you. Also, great job last night.
Thank you so much. It was so much fun.
I can't wait to break this all down with you. Just a couple quick housekeeping notes. We are back tomorrow with the wonderful Matt King. Fun episode with Matt. We have a great to Ask Nick episode out for you on Monday. Don't forget to send in your questions at asknick@castmedia.com. Cast with a K for Ask Nick episodes. And if there's is there anything else I'm missing, Allie and Amanda, before we get into this?
I mean, you can always buy merch.
You can always buy merch, viallfiles.com. Check us out. Let's get to the episode. First of all, Lance, I just want to say congratulations to you and Michael. You guys are expecting twins. That's very exciting.
Thanks. Yeah, it's a little crazy, and it doesn't seem too real right now, but it'll be very real in a few weeks. Yeah.
Is the due date right around the corner?
Well, we're actually due in November, but twins come really early, so we're kind of on standby from September to November. Who knows?
That's amazing. And you boy and girl?
Yeah, it's a boy and a girl.
That's awesome. Well, that's super awesome. Congratulations to the both of you. I just wanted to say that because that's super cool. All right, Lance. Before we get into your episode, we have a lot to discuss on Monday's episode. And things open up with basically Demi coming in, kind of naming it. I loved her intro, by the way. We have the intros are back. She's the pot stirrer. I thought that was very...
And she definitely is the pot stirrer.
She definitely is the pot stirrer. So she comes in, she does her thing. She asks Brendan out. It's Brendan, right? I know I keep fucking up Brendan's name. Great. Awesome. I used to call him Brendan. What did you think about that? What were you excited? Demi obviously is very, polarizing. A lot of people love her energy. Some people find it to be, obnoxious. Personally, I thought she was hilarious. Obviously, she, can come on strong, but it's paradise. It's fun.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, she's a very polarizing character for sure, which I think is perfect television. If we didn't have characters like that, then it'd be boring. So I appreciate when people come in just hardcore, wanting to play the game, and who knows what she's in here for this season. I mean, maybe just to have fun and stir the pot, but hopefully she will find love.
Yeah, it seems like Demi is there to, and we'll talk a lot about this in this episode, but. I think, Demi obviously has the benefit of having been in paradise, so she has no problem just saying what she's there to do, right? And that literally is to stir the pot, have fun, how interested she is in actually finding love in a relationship. I don't know. I mean, it sounds like maybe she's open to it, but maybe she doesn't even plan on it and expecting it. But I think it's her being open, about that is what kind of lets her off the hook, because obviously we get into a lot with Brendan and his past next couple episodes. He's the good guy from the, quote unquote good guy from his edit. And I'm sure he's a great guy. I've heard nothing but great things about Brendan in life. But now it sounds like he's going to get a bad beat this season, and you can kind of tell that classic case of, I was dating someone and talking to someone, and right off the bat, while Demi and Brendan are on a date, conversations are already starting between people on the beach and Natasha about, Piper and Brendan.
Right, exactly. There's always someone, that they're seeing before they come in to the show. It's just part of the core. Of course, but Brendan, to me, is so complicated. It would be very hard to date this guy because you really don't know what he's thinking. He's just way too reserved and quiet when it comes to relationships. So it'll be very interesting. I mean, and then Demi getting turned down by him, that just really, you saw a little screw go loose when she got rejected. She could not imagine someone rejecting her. But I'm real interested to see how the Brendan and Natasha relationship work out.
Did you get to talk to Brendan all that much when you were down there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did actually. The great thing that they did this year was they let us hosts kind of go in and really kind of pull the people we wanted to and really get the tea from everyone. So that was really fun. So I really got to have some good moments with every single person in there.
Really? So when you were talking to Brendan, did you feel like he was even holding back with you? Like when you say, like, you know, he's hard to read or whatever.
Yeah.
How much do you think that's just Brendan, or do you feel like that was Brendan being cagey about, you know, Piper or what else was going on, you know, compared to everyone else?
Well, it's hard to say. Like I said, he's complicated. To me, it seemed like in our conversations that he really liked Natasha. You know, Natasha wants more from him. I mean, at this point, they haven't even kissed. So, you know, she's just wanting some kind of validation that she's doing the right thing, which makes me also think that maybe he is waiting for someone else to come through that door, because why wouldn't you have kissed Natasha at this point?
Yeah, it's one of these things. It happens. It's funny because it happens every season. It's like the same kind of beats the show has, and it's always like usually one guy who comes in and gets the villain edit, whether, you know, he's not like a real villain or a bad guy or whatever. And it's always interesting because, like, Brendan's biggest mistake, from what I can tell so far, is that it seems like he's not being totally honest. Now, do we know he's lying? I'm not sure, you know, because he's not upfront about it. And what I mean by that, like when I was on Paradise, I don't know if you remember, Lance, or you watched back then, but when I showed up, there was this girl named Jen who I dated on the show, and we've talked about it. Like we had conversations before the show, right? The difference is with some people, and and I'll defend Brendan here, is like, I don't think Brendan's any more guilty than anyone else on that beach. They've all talked to people. They all have relationships going on. They all kind of came in with an idea or some sort of plan. That plan might shift, but Brendan is being outed for it. For whatever reason, it made pop culture news. I think it was even on like Us Weekly, et cetera, et cetera. When I showed up to Paradise, now granted, this was never aired. I was just like, I walked in and if anyone asked, I was like, if Jen shows up, I'm going to go on a date with her. I'm here to date Jen. I don't care. I was telling everyone, every time I went on a date, some girl will ask me on a date, like, cool, I'll go on a date with you, just so you know. I'm going to go out with Jen if she asks me. When I went out with Amanda, I'm like, yeah, you seem great, but if Jen comes, I want to get to know her. You should get to know other people. They never aired that, but I told everyone, and I wouldn't shut up about it. So they all knew. And the big difference is, like with Brendan, when he's talking to Natasha, Natasha, like on Tuesday's episode, when she's like checking in, he just says just enough, right? And it kind of, I think, reminds people of that kind of fuckboy mentality, because Natasha's like, she's asking him, well, what do you think? Or I like you, blah, blah, blah. And Brendan doesn't lie to her, but he just says, well, I like you a little bit more every day, and I think that's a good thing. Like, what the fuck is Natasha supposed to do with that information?
Yeah.
It's so just like, it's I hate to use the word breadcrumbing because I feel like but it's just like, just enough. He's just like dangling a carrot, as opposed to the saying, hey, if Piper comes down, just so you know, and she asks me, I'm going to go out with her. And he's not being totally honest there. So assuming that's going to happen, it's going to get really bad for Brendan. And I just don't get why he doesn't just be totally upfront rather than only be honest when he gets called out.
Yeah, because some guys are just idiots. They don't know how to deal with it. But, and also as a host going in, and, I pulled Natasha to the side, and we had a really deep conversation about this. And, the things that I saw, that I did see that Brendan liked her. And I felt so bad. I'm like, am I doing the right thing by kind of telling her, keep going with this? I'd hate to give her the wrong advice because I don't know all the information. So that's the only thing that always kind of scared me talking to to everyone, just because I didn't know if I was going to be helping or hurting this situation. Yeah,
it's tough. I mean, I think you did a great job just kind of facilitating love. Lance. What else? I mean, other there's so much in these past two episodes, Allie and Amanda, other than like obviously like setting up the Brendan and Piper drama and Demi. Oh, we have to get to Victoria, obviously.
Victoria P. Come on, that was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because usually when someone like comes on The Bachelor or Bachelorette and they have they look like a bit of a villain, there's a redemption opportunity. But it's like Victoria P just can't help herself. And again, back to the lying and not being upfront. I mean, it's a little different when you're talking to someone on the beach, but like this country music, singer aspiring. I think The Bachelor I have a spinoff show for the Bachelor franchise. It's all the women who move to Nashville after the show and start dating aspiring country singers. There should be a reality TV show of all the Bachelor Nation alumni who try dating country music stars. I feel like that would be very entertaining. I don't know.
I'm so in for that. Yes, because I mean there is a great pool of aspiring country artists and these women moving to Nashville. This could easily be cast.
Hey, you're going back out there and you're having dinner with friends and you're splitting checks. Why not make life easier with PayPal? PayPal is just making it so much easier to pay your friends, pay people who do work for you. Just move money around. That's right. When it's time to pay, why pull out your wallet or open your purse when you probably already have your phone in your hand? PayPal QR code payments are now accepted at CVS stores nationwide, so it's super easy to make touch-free payments with your phone. Plus, you get $10 cash back on your first purchase of $20 or more. That's great. Also, it's just cleaner. You're not touching dirty money. My favorite thing about PayPal is anytime I forget my wallet, I just have PayPal on my phone because I never forget my phone, and I'm out there and I'm using PayPal to when I, need to pick up some cereal at CVS or out there again, you split something with a friend. You just PayPal. It's great. Get $10 cash back on your first transaction of $20 or more. Just head to your local CVS and pay using your PayPal or Venmo app. That's $10 cash back on your first purchase of $20 or more with the PayPal or Venmo app. To see terms and learn more about how to earn $10 cash back, go to paypal.com/VIALL. CVS now accepts super easy touch-free payments with PayPal and Venmo, and you get $10 cash back on your first in-store QR code payment of $20 or more. Fable at home. Fable, people. Fable makes setting a beautiful table super easy. I'll tell you what, I got the Fable dinner set. Natalie and I love it. We got this new shelving in our kitchen, and it's so beautiful that we don't even put it in the cabinet. It's out to it helps make our kitchen look more homey. It's beautiful. It's great. They have great pasta bowls. They have cereal bowls. They have dinnerware. I mean, coffee mugs. It's really just beautiful. Their dinnerware is crafted and hand finished in Portugal and made with recycled clay. Well, that's amazing. And you get 10% off your first order with the code VIALL. That's right. Fable offers premium dinnerware, all created aesthetically and sustainably. I mean, we just love it. I didn't even know it was made sustainably. It's an added bonus, but I just think it's so beautiful and great. And we ate off. We had some pasta last night and used our Fable bowls. Their ceramic is stunning, all crafted ethically and hand finished in a zero waste facility. Head over to fablehome.co and use code VIALL to take 10% off your first purchase. That's fablehome.co. Use code VIALL to take 10% off your first purchase. Pour one out for Kelsey. I mean, I really thought she was going to be a star on Paradise. She has all the rest, the makings of a really entertaining character in Paradise, and unfortunately she went home super early. But she's very upfront, she's very honest, and honestly, she really handled this with a lot of poise because she was like, yeah, we're friends, but I just got asked about it, and what do you want me to do about it? I don't know. What were your thoughts on Kelsey, Lance?
I mean, yeah, she got in the middle of something that is hard to get out of, and also she didn't have a couple there. I mean, she was going to go no matter what. So I think she didn't care about revealing all of these secrets because she kind of knew she was going home. But I mean, that's when you knew that what they were saying was true. When both girls had the same story, you're like, okay, something's going on. And then Victoria P is just a horrible liar because you could just read right through her. Yes, everything that they're saying is completely true. She was not even trying to defend herself, really.
It's this weird kind of condescending thing where she's just like, well, I've learned this in therapy. I'm gonna pause you right now, and she doesn't deny anything. She just tries to like.
And in her limo ride home, she confesses.
Exactly. She's like, "Well, I got a man waiting for me at home." Right? That's what they were saying.
It was so weird. Like, and then she goes, like, she's like, "Well, I'm gonna go over to James and just let him know that I was sincere." And she just goes, she's like, "Yeah, so I'm gonna go. I got caught in a lie. I don't really.
It's my decision.
It's my decision.
I get to go."
She's like, "It's so nice to meet you." He's like, "You don't know my name."
Oh my God! Yes, the Jordan and
James.
Get it wrong once. I get it. There's a lot of people going, a lot of things going on, but she almost, you know what it was? Like, she said it as a way of like a someone in high school would be like, I don't even know his name. Like, I don't even want you to know I like him. Like, it's just like,
exactly.
What do you mean? You're trying to get his do you want to be in a relationship with this guy or not? Like, she's teasing him like, what's your name? Like, ha 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 ha. It's just like, how mean.
Although in her defense, he doesn't look like a James. He really doesn't. So I've always said that.
Wait, James
doesn't fit.
You're on the Victoria P.
He looks like an
that's the one
or
thing I
something
agree with.
Freaky.
Yeah.
What does he look like?
He's the one, the box, the big muscle guy.
We just call him Box Guy.
I feel like he looks like his name is something weird and outdated, like Huxley or like Aberforth.
I mean, I'm telling you, she was kind of right. He looks like a Jordan.
Yeah. I mean, I guess. Yeah. I mean, I've certainly gotten names wrong before, so I can't really give him that too hard of a time. But I do love James's response. Is it like, she's like, we don't even know each other's last name. He's like, I don't. It's like you didn't know my first name. I mean, I give James a lot of props there because he must feel foolish. Like, I think he really liked her. I think he was like, this is going to be my paradise girlfriend. When Ivan was just like, just so you know, I know who I'm giving my rose to. And James like, yeah, me too, man. So it's definitely like an ego blow to James. And I thought he handled it pretty well.
He did. Yeah.
So yeah. And then he ends up giving his, date to his rose to Demi. Were you rooting for anyone watching? Like, who are your couples so far that on Monday's episode, before we get into your episode, Lance, that you were kind of rooting for? Like, what do you think of Abigail and Noah?
I love Abigail and Noah. They're definitely one of my top couples. They just really get each other, and it's just really sweet. The other is like Grocery Store Joe. I just love his relationship right now, and I really want him to find love. But I think we can all assume what's going to be happening in future episodes.
Yeah. Well, Joe's a perfect example of like, you can tell he just has no filter, and he's just so kind of honest with like even his thoughts and his insecurities, and it comes across as so redeeming. It's just hard not to root for Joe because like, he's just fine with like putting it out there. And I love that. Other than like VP and like obviously Demi coming in and like setting up the Piper drama, were there any like major things on Monday before we get into Tuesday's episodes, which I feel like was the meat of the drama?
Do you want to talk about the Brendan and Demi date?
I don't know. Brendan and Demi went on a date. Like, Demi was being outrageous. Demi did her whole thing. I can't believe he doesn't like me or whatever. Demi obviously is my friend. I have her back, but like Brendan has a right not to like her. God forbid. And she obviously is coming across a little like hurt by the rejection.
And I think most of that was not just the rejection, but knowing that, oh my gosh, I'm probably not going to get a rose unless I snag this one right here. So she was probably more upset that she might be leaving.
Yeah, which it's funny. Like again, Demi's a friend. I think she was hilarious on the show, and there's always a couple times where she like goes almost she kind of overplays her hand a little bit too much. Where it's just like, all right, now you're Like you're throwing a bit of a temper tantrum, and then they'll cut to like Demi in an ITM kind of like making fun of herself by like saying, well, I just, I know I'm being ridiculous and whatever. That's where I feel like grocery store Joe also does a good job of that. Let's get
Did you call him Grocery Dirt Joe?
Grocery Dirt Joe, yeah. Like my Freudian slip with David Spade. David Chappelle is
David LaChapelle, yeah.
David Chappelle. So you walk in after the rose ceremony. We got who went home? Kelsey,
Victoria L,
the queen,
the goddess. When Brendan was like, "Your aura is overpowering."
I mean, I think that just goes to show they obviously have a lot of characters and a lot, when Kelsey and Victoria go home early on, that they have a lot to work with because those are clearly two people who were meant for the beach with some of the kind of they're just kind of outrageous in their honesty and what they're willing to say, and they got sent home. Demi does point out that she only this is only the second time she got rejected, but the first one didn't count because Colton ended up being gay.
Gay.
Your thoughts on that, Lance?
I think it's funny as hell.
Yeah, it's funny.
And it's the truth. It's just like, well, that doesn't count. He was gay. He was just pretending anyway.
All right, so you come in. What was your first when you came in and talked to the whole group? What was kind of your first observations about the group, and like what was it like kind of getting down there and talking to everyone after the first rose ceremony?
Yeah, well, I mean, first walking into Paradise was a dream come true because I never thought I'd be able to step into that place. I've watched every season and
have you really?
I just love it.
You even watched?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I mean, I love Bachelor and Bachelorette, but Bachelor in Paradise is just far superior to me. It's just so fun because I like to see several relationships, budding instead of one person having to date 30 people. It just seems a little more real. We could say real, but yeah, it was. Seeing everyone there. I loved the majority of people that I saw. I was like, yes, I'm glad Joe's here. I'm glad. A lot of the new boys are there, like, Aaron, and I'm, was crossing my fingers Thomas would be there, but he wasn't. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I was geeking out the first good 10 minutes, and then I finally got into host mode. I'm like, okay, I'm here to do a job.
I appreciate, I think, with you and David, like, I kind of liked I liked that. I liked that we kind of saw your excitement. I liked that you were having fun and still playing the host role. Like, and it's Paradise. That I think the show's meant. I think people like it because it is different and it still can be fun with the drama. And I think it was fun to see that from you. And like, obviously David has, a different way of going about it, but for in the same way, like just having fun with it all while you're there. So I personally enjoyed that.
It's a fun summer show, and Wells did it so well with he's the bartender, but yet he's there for to give sound advice. And I think that relationship between the contestants and host and Wells, I think it's so important because it gets them to open up more.
Oh, do we want to? I know we're bouncing around. This is almost kind of tough recapping two episodes.
Yeah.
All at once. I mean, like, yeah, there's so many little things like the playbook. I think that was pretty funny. Obviously, people always refer to the playbook, but like, yeah, I mean, it just comes down to every season. And this is where I'm almost going to defend Brendan because I know, like, I think it's going to get worse for Brendan. And I'm sure, like, in life, he's probably a fine guy, but he just got caught up not being totally up front. And I don't think Brendan is any more guilty than anyone else on the beach. Victoria P is another example. And, Tammy is going to be who I think, and they are kind of together. I think maybe the most compatible match on the beach is Tammy and Aaron because they're both petty and they both like
Yes.
love talking shit about everyone, and that is that, like, they love drama. Like they could go on a date and do nothing but talk shit about people constantly, and
Exactly.
they're like
And
a perfect match.
they are. I mean, I don't see any romance between those two, but they are a great friend match in this game because, like you said, they are such shit talkers. You know, Tammy's always, oh, I like the bad boys. Like, the whole lesson that everyone's learned watching these shows is that you don't go for the bad boy, but she is all about it. And then, yeah, I mean, and I don't think they're really open to find love because their head is so far into other people's asses, especially Aaron. You know, it's like Aaron could not even have a good time on either of the franchises because he's just so concerned about other people.
If you told me that Aaron was an overgrown 8th grader, I would totally believe you, because like
100%.
he acts like an 8th grader constantly.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into that, because obviously Thomas shows up pretty early. I do love how, who was it? Like all the guys, everyone's like, yeah, a bunch guys are going to show up. But before, was it Kenny? Someone's like, no, I think it's going to be a girl. And I'm just like, yeah, you don't really understand how this show works.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and I love my Kenny. He's my boy band guy. He's a good
Oh,
one.
yeah. Thoughts on Kenny? Did you get to talk about boy bands at all? Would you hire Kenny as a manager? Like what? Like, give me some like behind the scenes on Kenny.
Yeah, we did some boy band talk for sure. He's a great guy. I love that he's the old guy at 40. I'm like, 40's not old. So I love that they treat him like the grandfather. But I like him because, again, he's a little mysterious too, a little complicated to get to really know in a romantic way. So it'll be interesting to see how his love, how his relationships, end up in Bachelor in Paradise.
Yeah, it's tough on the Bachelor in Paradise is tricky because if you're a guy, you don't want to be thought of as the player or whatever, and back to like Aaron, like you had Serena C and Tammy literally just make out with Aaron back to back on the same bench. Aaron was just like, he even said something to Serena C, almost like, I'm sure he was joking, but like almost like, hey, what are you going to do for this rose, so to speak? The power. The guys have to be very careful when they have the power because it can look really bad, really fast. So like I can see Kenny being kind of playing his cards close to the vest, so to speak, because I don't think he wants to look like a fuckboy. So anyways, Thomas shows up pretty early. We're going to talk a lot about. So here's the frustrating part about this episode. I'm really curious about your thoughts, Lance. Is that like, I don't want to be defending Thomas. In fact, I met Thomas when I hosted the date, and I've said this before. When I met Thomas, he definitely seemed like a guy who was kind of full of shit. And we even watch him on this episode. He's corny. He says cheesy things. Like, yeah, he does like, I'm too tall, and it's like, we get it, you're tall. And I don't want to be defending Thomas, but Katie's men are so soft and so insecure and so petty that like you can't help but being like it's unreasonable, their hatred for Thomas. If they just ignored Thomas and said nothing, we would probably be spending all this time like kind of like, making fun of what we're seeing on TV that Thomas shows. Like we would probably say this is a guy who like just says, cliche things, talks in platitudes, knows he's hot, says insincere things. He does it to himself. But like none of that is a crime. And you have these guys calling Thomas a narcissist. They say he's like rotten to the core. And they have, the only thing they keep saying is like that he like if Katie broke up with him, at least he'd still have a platform, or he owned up to the possibility he thought about being the Bachelor. And it's just like, guys, you all have Instagram. Like if you're going to call someone a narcissist and say they're a rotten human being and just like, just lose your shit over them, and you only have like the fact that they consider being the Bachelor, or they consider they have a platform, and you have Instagram turned on and you're collecting followers, I think you should shut the fuck up. But I don't know. Maybe do you see it the way I do, Lance, or like what do you think?
I am so glad we're on the same page because I too hate to defend Thomas, but I don't think a lot of this is warranted.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean it's a little too much, and what I don't like to see is when the rumor mill starts, and then someone says like a little like what he said over here, but then they make it seem bigger, and then by the time it gets over here, he said something completely off the wall that they think he said, which he never said. Like the game of telephone is horrible with him, because like what he was saying about Trey is what you talk to people about. He was actually coming from a good place, been like, look, he's been through a lot. He needs a lot of love. I don't think he's emotionally ready. I mean, it's all true.
And Serena asked his opinion on it, and then like Serena was a little gossip who went and talked behind his back. She made the whole date about like, and I get why Serena did that. That's totally fine, but like you're right, the telephone game is a perfect example. Like, play the tape back from Katie's season. The guys drilled Thomas about like, hey, did you ever think about being the Bachelor? Did you ever think about being the Bachelor? And the guy owned up to it one time by saying, yeah. And like, listen, again, I'm not defending Thomas. If these guys would just leave him alone, we'd all be talking probably some shit about him, about his cheesiness and how he kind of like, he probably is a little full of shit and maybe he has some growing up to do. I don't know. Yeah. But like, it's this whole, if he's a narcissist, the amount of apologizing Thomas has done in the past 2 seasons, like, say what you want about the guy, like, I don't think narcissists are known for like falling on the sword and apologizing for things, and what it seems to be a very sincere attempt for things that I don't even know if they're guilty of. Like, how many times does he have to apologize?
Yeah. And, there is a little, probably a sociopath under there somewhere, but, again, he hasn't given you,
You think Thomas might be a sociopath?
I mean, I know people that, act a little like that. So, I have one eye open.
That's the thing. I hear you. When I first met Tom, I met Thomas in a group of 9 guys, and he stood out as like, watch out for this guy. But that also could just be he is a giant. He's 6'5". He is good looking. So we're in our minds kind of holding that against him. Like, oh, the guy shouldn't be this tall and good looking.
Yeah. But the problem is with him is like, he never gives a direct answer.
You're right.
That is his downfall. Just talks in circles. And then you're just like, well, then you're full of shit if you can't just answer one simple question.
You're totally right. And he definitely is full of shit, but he also could just be a guy who is immature and hasn't found himself yet. And I don't know. Like, that's the thing. We don't know who Thomas is, but these guys keep saying how well they know him. They don't know him at all. And every time they're asked, like, well, what is it about this guy? They keep saying the Bachelor thing over and over. And so clearly they're proving by not having anything more specific other than talking about platforms, and like, it's all Bachelor tropes. And like, you're talking,
and every single person that comes on that show, in the back of your mind, you're always thinking, well, I wonder if I could become the Bachelor. It's just, that's a natural thing to think.
They all have, they all have their Instagram on. They all, and that's fine. They're all if someone was like, hey, Trey, do you want 500,000 followers? He would be like, yeah. And that's fine. But like, it's the problem I have is like, they're talking to him about like they're just trying to crucify this guy. They're trying to absolutely just assassinate his character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it only makes them look horrible. I mean, if I was dating someone that was just so concerned about another guy, it would be so off-putting to me.
Yeah. I love how the women are approaching it. Like, and it does come across as a little condescending to the women. It's just like, say, hey, listen, I'm not a fan of him. I didn't like him, but you know what? Maybe I saw it through a different lens. Why don't you, like, if these women, like, they don't need Trey and James and who else, and Aaron to like protect them. Like, they're all intelligent, capable women who can sit down and have a conversation on the beach with someone like Thomas and see if he's full of shit. But like, these guys just won't let it play out.
Well, Tajwan was not buying it. She went full in on, nope, not into Thomas.
Yeah, which is fine. I love that we got to see Tajwan like have a conversation, but like, it was so frustrating watching these guys just. I mean, really act juvenile around him. And it's just like, you know, Aaron wouldn't shut up about like the whole, like he's Thomas doesn't shut up about how tall he is. And like, that's just his insecurity. And I'm like, yeah, you're probably right, Aaron. But like, you don't shut up about anyone. Your thing is to talk shit about people. Like, it's just like, so not like Trey at least tries like to like give him an opportunity. And then Trey I don't blame Trey at all because he just heard a rumor, and like the way he heard the rumor, I'd be mad too if I were Trey, you know?
Yeah.
You know, if someone came up to you and said, hey, someone called you emotionally immature, I'd be pissed. But you're right. The context of which it was said was like his intention wasn't to talk shit. It's just such a crazy.
I know. And that's that whole telephone game. It's like, I wish Trey would have gotten his answer at that moment where he just shut him down, because I wanted to hear what Thomas was going to say. But again, Thomas would have just talked in circles and made himself seem guilty anyway.
Did you get to spend much time with Thomas?
Not too much, because he came in halfway through my hosting. You know, I bring him in, talk to him a good bit, send him off on a date, but that's pretty much all the time I had to talk with him.
Again, I think everyone who goes down to that beach comes in with some sort of relationship. They all, again, I remember, they all want to stick around. They all want to be on the TV show, right? And I don't fault them at all. And if you pay attention, you listen to Trey admit the same thing. So like, here's my question to people listening and people watching this show. If Brandon is so bad or Thomas is so bad and, you know, whatever, and then how is it okay for Trey to admit to the audience, hey, Tajwan is clearly not into me. She doesn't like me. It was almost embarrassing watching her just drool over Riley. She changed. She's not into me. Whatever. I got to face facts. But also, we're in the same week where the women have the power and they have the roses. So, so he literally says, well, I want to get a rose, so I'm going to keep, exploring this relationship with Tajwan. And how is that okay? And again, I don't have a problem with it. But in the context, it is a bit hypocritical to, crucify people, call them a narcissist, say they're, horrible human beings because like they want to be the Bachelor or a platform or whatever, and then openly admit to like pursuing a relationship that they would otherwise not. Like if Trey had the rose, he 100% would have started like exploring relationships with other women. He would have said, Tajwan, like, hey, what was that? I thought we had something, but you clearly are obsessed with Riley. And like, I don't know, maybe you should explore that. I'm going to look elsewhere. But he doesn't have a rose. And so he absolutely is pretending to see if there's something there with Tajwan and lying to himself and Tajwan a little bit because he wants to get to next week. And they're all fucking guilty of it. And we pick and choose who we crucify.
It's so true. I mean, if Thomas would have said and did exactly what Trey did, he would have been just completely killed by everyone. And of course, the more people told the story, the bigger it would get. And, the things that he said were just not what he actually said. But you're right. There is a double standard with, the good guys versus the bad guys.
Yeah. It is wild, but it'll be really interesting because I stand by like Brendan, for example. If Brandon would if he came down and said, I've talked to Piper, we went on a date, she's not here, I want to and the only thing anyone could have criticized Brendan for doing is they could have been like, well, why did you even come? Why didn't you just date outside the show? And then Brendan could be like, well, why didn't you guys date each other outside of the show? Yeah. All these people have met for the most part.
Well, exactly. I mean, Bachelor Nation is very incestuous.
Yeah.
Everyone knows everybody. Everyone's dated everyone. So coming into this, everyone knows everybody, and
Yeah.
everyone knows if you have a connection or not. And I'm sure you've kissed like half the people anyway that no one even knows about.
And if they haven't met outside of the show, all their DMs are clearly open. So this idea that like, why didn't you date outside of the show?
Yeah.
Like that's the most they could have criticized Brendan for. And they'd be like, well, no, I wanted to date her on the beach because, well, I did meet her and I want to meet her and I want to get to know her, that I wasn't really sure. But it's the little bit of like, well, you know, I just like this line of like, I just like you more and more each day. And I know that's a good thing. It really, it's such a fuckboy line.
Yeah.
You know, it is such, it's just, it's not necessarily lying, but it's not telling the whole truth. And he's leading Natasha on. And as soon as I assume Piper's going to come, he is going to go Piper's going to get a date card. It's so obvious.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to date card and she's going to go around and she's going to ask Brendan out and he's going to come back and he's going to be like, and then my guess is they're going to call out Brandon so much, right? Like he's already aware of this target on his back. So now he'll still say yes to the date with Piper. He'll pull like a Dean from a few years back where he'll think not just cutting Natasha off will be the right thing, because he knows he's been leading her on. And so what he'll do, he'll try to date both of them for a while. And it's going to look even worse is my guess.
Yeah, you know how this is going to play out for sure. That's exactly what's going to happen.
But it's what I'm fascinated by it because it happens every season. Like I'm not like it's not like I haven't talked to Brent. It's just Dean did it. Like people do it on this season, and why don't you just show up? Like Brendan could literally have worn a T-shirt. He could have showed up talking to David Spade, and his T-shirt could have been like, "Here for Piper. Also have had a lot of sex this year. I fuck." I mean, he literally could just come down and he would get himself in less trouble just because he would just be calling it out. He would be totally honest. And yeah, he might have some critics of being like, oh, I thought you didn't have sex and I thought you were just like a saint. But like, other than that, like Bachelor Nation doesn't want to feel misled. And they don't want to believe that you're something that you say you're not. And all Brendan had to do was have a T-shirt that says, "Here for Piper." And just on every date he goes on, just so you know, "Here for Piper." And he would have been totally fine.
Yeah, I mean, all of them say, like, as long as you're honest with me, just be upfront with your intentions. But if he really did that, do you think they'd really accept that? I still think...
I really do. I think he might get sent home. That's the thing. Brandon is worried that he won't. That's how they do it. That's why they bring Piper in late, because Brandon is afraid he will get sent home before Piper shows up. So in his mind, he's just trying to survive and be a nice guy and not hurt anyone's feelings, but also try to get a rose, and
it's a delicate game.
It's a delicate game. And as we know, Bachelor oversimplifies people in situations. And that's why you're right. And that's why you can criticize Brendan for not being totally upfront, because the worst thing that could happen is he got sent home before Piper showed up, and then they could still date outside of the show. And that's where they get themselves in trouble. Carl, the only thing I have to say with Carl, did you?
Jesus.
If Carl, the last person I would want narrating my Bachelor experience is Carl, and he's like breaking down like Joe's love story as it relates to The Bachelor, and that's just, they did Joe dirty there by having Carl break down.
Carl is that guy that you went to junior high with, that was in the background trying to get you in a fight. It's like, oh no, trying to like push you over here. He's the one just really trying to call shit. Out of anyone, I think Carl is the biggest shit stirrer.
100%. Like last week, he's the guy who lies about like having, all the, he's a lot. I think Carl is just a mad liar. I don't know.
How is he a motivational speaker?
I don't know. We did a deep dive on his website. It's not great. Yeah. Riley. Let's talk about Riley.
That's my boy.
I just want to say, Riley, we all know, is a lawyer. If Riley's on my legal team, I want him always making the closing statements, because that man is a closer. The guy knows how to close. We haven't seen that much swag on this show for a long time. Yeah, like Riley comes down, his arms, I mean, truly magnificent. Like they really pop off. They literally pop off the screen into your living room.
It's like CGI'd. I've never seen muscles on top of muscles like that.
It's spectacular. I'm really glad to see Riley in this element. You know, he was a bit of a fan favorite on Tayshia and Claire's season, but there was so much going on. We kind of felt like we didn't get to see. I think we didn't get to see a lot of Riley. And man, he came out of the gates. Tajwan, obviously super excited, but I think everyone was super into him. I loved like the shots of Trey. I mean, Trey looked like he was going to throw up when Riley came down. Like he looked, you know, like when it's like when Trey is obviously a sweet guy. Riley comes down, and it reminded me of like a teen rom-com where Trey's the protagonist and like Riley's like the football player, and like, you know, Riley's the guy who always gets the girl, and somehow in this movie like Trey's gonna win and overcome love, but in reality, like in the real world, you know, Riley wins anyways. But like, you know, Trey, like his face was so like pale, and you could just tell he's just like, I don't stand a chance. And Riley just has so much swag. It's so great seeing all these guys, you know, worry about Thomas, and Riley just worries about himself. It's so great. It's amazing.
Yeah, see, that's how you act. And I loved getting to know Marissa also. She you know, I didn't know much about her, you know, going into this, but I love them together. Love.
Yeah, so like obviously Riley goes around the room. I mean, I was rooting for Tajwan. I really wanted Tajwan to get Taj to get the rose. I love her. I mean, she's so honest and she's so vulnerable. I think she's great. I'm really rooting for her to like find a relationship, and I really wanted it to be Riley. And like, I love that she put herself out there. I love she's just like, I'm here for you. I mean, you know, like I think
I knew that was never going to go anywhere, because she just turned too strange. Like when she likes someone, she just turns so weird, and it's hard to, you know, as a guy coming here, like, all right, I don't know about that, but like she just acted so weird when he came in.
You're right. And if she could just like harness that little bit of awkwardness a little bit when she get a little bit, but I do like, I don't fault her at all for like going to Riley and saying, I'm here for you. Like, I love that. I love that she put herself out there at the risk of, you know, not getting what she wants. And had she maybe turned off the awkwardness a little bit, like it might have gone different, but I don't fault her at all for putting herself out there. I actually I commend her a lot. I think it's hard to do. I mean, it's hard to do in the real world, let alone TV. And like, I think it's great that she put herself out there. She just gets a little, you know, like you said, a little weird, but like,
and that could be possibly the heat. I don't know. I mean, she's always so damn hot. Maybe it's really just affecting her brain.
I don't know, but I really wanted to see her get it. But I agree with you. Like, I didn't see it coming. He asked Marissa out, you know, and I mean, she talks about how she's never been on a date, like a real date, and it seemed like, okay, that's a nice story. He asked Marissa out. You like, you're hosting that date, like. Would you have eaten any of that food? Did you try any of that food?
I did not try any of that food. I am not an adventurous eater like that. I mean, in a competition, maybe I'd have to, but no, I was not into the things served at the Basserie.
I haven't met Connor B, but I have to admit, like, I'm just so not rooting for him. Is that fair to say? I'm sure he's a great guy.
Is that Connor the cat?
Yeah, Connor the cat.
Tone it down with the music, sir.
The music, the puns. It's like, you know.
Yeah.
It's like he's behaving like a math teacher.
Yeah. And again, I'm sure he's a great guy, and I'm rooting for him in life, and I hope he finds happiness. But on this show, I'm not rooting for him, like, at all. And the puns and the guitar and like the shtick, it's so like.
Well, that's like, he is going to be on your spinoff show in Nashville. Bachelor Nashville.
He'll be the guy with all the girls who are trying to date the country singers, and he'll be the guy just like, what about me? At the piano bar.
In his cat costume.
In a cat costume, throwing out puns. I'm just being honest, and I feel bad, but I'm like, in the context of this show, I'm actively rooting against Connor B. I feel bad to say it, and again, I'm sure I've heard nice things about him. I'm sure he's a swell guy, and in life, I can't wait to meet him. But his character on the show, he's, I'm just like,
Yeah, you can tell he's a very sweet guy, but I'm not convinced he's there to find love. I definitely see him on there, trying to start his country career like a lot of people do on that show.
Yeah, so you think it's even more than
I mean, I do, because right when I walked in, the very first time I talked to them, I met them all as a group, and then as I'm walking by Connor, he's like, hey, because I had watched, the Bachelorette season, and they had never seen an episode yet because they were filming when it started. Yeah. So I'd seen the first few episodes, so I knew exactly, what went down. I knew the Thomas story and all that. And he was like, wait, did my song make it? Did my song make it? I'm like, yeah, I think your song made it. But that was the only thing he was concerned about, is if his song made the cut.
Well, you heard it here from Lance Bass. Thanks for the tea, Lance. Thank you for
That's
the tea.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, again, I just I was watching it with Natalie, and when Riley started making out with Marissa, and they're I literally said out loud, show Connor playing the guitar all sad and pathetic, and they did, and I was I felt bad because I was rooting against him.
Can we also talk about the clip when, during the date, it pans back to Connor on the beach playing the guitar, and Wells at the bar with the cheesy little tear up moment. I was like, Wells is not paid enough for these performances.
I don't know what that was about. I don't know if that was really through the song or a bug got in his eye. I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure Wells will say something. Wells has got to acknowledge that in a tweet of some kind. I'm sure we'll hear about it, but
he's just a very emotional guy.
Yeah. Also, let's talk about Connor B and kissing, because obviously I've really figured it out. We've talked about it. He's an over-aggressive kisser. He's kissing before Riley shows up. He's making out with Marissa. And if you play it back, she is literally leaning back. He just goes in so hard to the paint, he's not paying attention. And if you go back and watch her, she's I think she likes him and she doesn't mind kissing him, but it's not that she doesn't want to kiss him. It's that he is going 95. And
I know he acts like a 13-year-old that has not really kissed much. If a cat could make out, I think that's what a cat would make out like.
Yes. Thank you, Lance. And then you have Riley, swag. He's smooth. He's got his move. I love that she's you got to move, and the chin thing. He's got the chin, and it's it's a dance. He didn't their faces when Riley and Marissa are making out. They're at 90 degrees. They're still there's a line in the middle, and they meet at the line and they start kissing. No one's crossing the line. They're kind of staying in they're just meeting in the middle, literally. And Connor B is always jumping over into their side of the court. It's just stay on your side of just meet at center court.
Connor B does full court press.
Full court press. He's just going hard. And Riley, do you have a move, Lance? Because the chin thing, that's not my move. I've never done the grab the chin, but it's a nice move. I love how, and it really is a move. He did it, and every time he kisses, and it works. It fucking works. Very few people in that show can point out their move, do the move, and have it look great. And Riley, just a masterful performance on Riley. But what's your move? Do you have a go-to makeout move?
Yeah, my move, just to kind of, see if they're interested or not, is kind of what Riley said too. If you touch my back, or I touch the ball of your back there, it gives you the clue that I'm into this. I'm touching you right now, so let's do this.
Yeah. What about a makeup? Do you have any hand placement on the face or neck during during the makeout.
I don't do the chin thing. That's a little too cheesy for me, but I definitely love, grabbing the back of the head. I like that kind of passion.
There you go. Yeah, I'm not a chin guy myself, but it works for Riley. But props.
I mean, let's be honest, anything would work for Riley. He just knows. He knows what he's doing. He is.
Were you standing right there when they started making out, and were you just like awkwardly watching?
I mean, it was so awkward because look, I did not know this date was going to go down like this, because when he asked her, I'm like, well, that's an interesting choice. Like, she's cute. I don't know much about her, but like, I don't know if this is going to work. And then they do the date, and they're doing, of course, horrible eating, all kinds of stuff that they were so into, by the way. Like, they loved everything. It was, I thought they were going to have people throwing up and everything. No, they absolutely loved all the tripe and everything. But yeah, I mean, I loved how quickly they just knew, where it snapped for him when I knew it was down was when she was talking about how she was such a sexual person and she was down, and then you could just see him go bing, like, oh my gosh, this is it. And it was over from there. He's like, we are going to the boom boom room tonight, no doubt.
Yeah, and honestly, smart on their part to. I think the first question they avoided was sexual partners. Where in life, I think that's made too much of a big deal. But like, good for them for not airing that on national television, because people would have been mean and judgmental.
And I'm glad too, because then they wouldn't have eaten anything. That would have been such a bust of a date if they didn't eat anything.
Totally. But I mean, and then, props to Marissa for being like, but I do masturbate every day. Like, good for her for that sex positivity and owning it. And props to Marissa for that. And you're right. Like, obviously, Riley, I'm really curious. Obviously, again, we record this in advance, but I will be really curious. I hope everyone's just like 100% in on Riley and Marissa, but like going straight to the boom boom room or one of those rooms before, like, is that a Bachelor in Paradise first to like kind of like not make an entrance down to the beach? Because lots of times you'd have like Marissa come down and be like, I gotta talk to Connor B, and I gotta like let him know that I'm gonna move this direction. But nope, she's just like, and I have no problem with it. Like, I think it's fine. Like, none of these relationships that like maybe Grocery Store Joe and Serena, but like none of these relationships are solidified. All these relationships week 1, we're just trying to get to week 2. I have no problem with it, but like, what do you think? Do you think Bachelor Nation is gonna think they're not playing by the rules, or do you like that they hooked up the first date, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, look, when there was some magic there. I mean, I saw the spark, and if you believe in love at first sight, that's what I saw go down. And I remember I was heading back to my hotel, and I off camera and everything, they're just making out, and I could just see the passion, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is real. Like, I mean, I can't believe just the amount of hours these guys striked up such an amazing relationship, and I could just really feel the love.
And then Connor B the whole time, I don't care. It's just a date. It's just one date. It's just one date.
I'm just gonna write a song about it. Don't worry.
Just gonna write a song. I'm gonna play it. Anyways, what?
2 songs, one on uke, one on guitar. The man played 2 songs over the course of that date.
Yeah, between Connor B's like ukulele playing and Carl karate routine.
Oh my God.
And I don't feel bad teasing these guys because they know they're being filmed. Like, Carl knew he was being filmed doing that whole routine, and he thought it was cool. And
producers are like, hey, what would be really cool? I hear you're great at karate moves. Like, why don't you just do some here on the beach?
Yeah, I'm sure they did. Or honestly, he might have just done that. I mean,
and he even did one of the Karate Kid moves.
He really was almost gonna turn. He totally tried it. It was like he's like, I'm gonna go there, and maybe not, and then like it. It's. I say that because like, it's Carl, and Carl's like just done nothing redeeming in his 2 seasons. But you almost feel bad, like, why are we making fun of a guy working out on the beach? But like, he's asking for it. He just can't help himself. And like I said, he knew full well that he was being filmed, and he was probably out there for 30 minutes, and we just got to see like 2 minutes of it. But I don't. What do you? Fuck, man. Like,
he has a mean sweep kick.
I maybe we're backtracking a little bit. Serena and Joe. I love how Joe kind of handled that whole thing. I mean, I love how we got to watch Joe napping. And then they just played him napping as if like he's just tossing and turning. It was probably a single nap of sleeping in 90-degree weather. But Joe's torn up about it. And I love how Joe keeps fake quitting to Wells.
Yeah, right.
If this doesn't go my way, I'm gonna leave. I'm like, okay.
I love it.
But yeah, I think Joe handles that great, and he's like, yeah, I knew you're gonna. Joe has this great way of just like pretending to be cocky, but also humble at the same time. I don't know.
Yeah, he has a good it's a good mix for him. I just love him. I think he's great.
Before we let you go, Lance, so what tea do you have? What are behind the scenes observations did you notice, and then what could you tease for us for next week?
All right, without getting in trouble, let's see what I can talk about, because there is a major thing happening in the next episode.
Well, let's before we get to the tea for next episode, give us some things we didn't get to see that didn't make the cutting room floor that we should know about.
Well, mainly all of my conversations with everyone got cut. That's when you can tell that there's really great action going on in this show. I mean, I had so many conversations with every single one of them, and I didn't see but like one of those. You got to see me sit down with the girls like one time. But I mean, you got to see all the best stuff. That is for sure. It's fun when you're shooting the show in your dressing room. You have a television screen of every single camera going on, so I can watch everything going. And the biggest surprise was, going into this, I'm like, how real can this be? Are they all in cahoots? Like, which ones are like, okay, we're gonna do this? But watching it go down, unless they're the best improv actors in the world, I mean, this thing, I mean, it's crazy how real this can get.
Oh, totally. I mean, it's it's a staged and controlled environment, and with real emotions that are obviously heightened given that it's a staged control environment. Who give me your top 3 guys and top 3 women that after sitting down with them, forget about the show, that like you just liked as people and that you would want to maybe hang out with outside of the show?
Yeah. I mean, definitely, Joe is right up there. I love Riley. And actually I enjoyed talking to Kenny. He's kind of quiet, but like a gentle giant. Yeah. But I liked him.
I've heard a lot of great things about Kenny through just people on the show and producers. Like, they all really like him.
Yeah. One girl I love is Tajwan. I think she's just really fun. I want her to find love. She reminds me of Ashley I back in the day. Yeah. Like, I think they're kind of like the same type of journey. So hoping that she, works things out. And then let's see, where's the other girl that I love? I do have a soft spot for Natasha. I think she's just Natasha's super great, sweet. Yeah. And, in our conversations, and hopefully in the next episode, you'll see our one-on-one with her. She's just super sweet. And I just couldn't stop staring at her because she's so gorgeous. I mean, she's gorgeous on television, but in person, even more gorgeous.
Yeah. I've met Natasha a few times. She's just a wonderful human. Do you have any, not so favorites? Like, you're, minus who we've talked about, people that you're just like, I'm not into you. Not a good vibe. Especially if anyone who's a fan favorite that you're just like, not my cup of tea.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, fan favorites, I'm kind of right there with everyone else. The ones that I love seeing on the show, but I just, roll my eyes at, Carl, number one. I think, Aaron, and Tammy, I think, are in the same boat with me, where it's fun to watch on television, but it would be impossible to be friends with them or in relationship with them.
I think that's fair. Yeah. What can we expect next week, Lance?
Just the most dramatic episode in Bachelor history is next week. No, I'm interested to see what happens with Thomas. So definitely keep your eye out on him. And then I'll be introducing a new contestant that is going to be kind of record breaking in Bachelor in Paradise.
Oh, Becca, right? Becca.
Yep.
Yeah.
Becca comes in. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big get to have a former bachelorette come in. I'm almost shocked that it's like, it's a,
Yeah.
for
I mean, I
them
was a
to
little
wait.
shocked too, but it took her a lot of convincing, I think, to bring her back. Even when she was in Mexico, she still was kind of second guessing herself and deciding if she
Oh,
wanted
sure,
to
yeah.
actually go through. But we talked her off the ledge and said, look, this is gonna be such a fun experience. And I really, really got I loved getting to know her. I got to spend a good time with her before she went into Paradise, and she's just a lovely, lovely girl.
That's awesome. Other than Thomas and Becca, is there someone who gets themselves in a lot of trouble that we should look forward to watching?
Let's see, not so much trouble. I mean, Carl, you're going to see go through some things, and then I think you're going to see more blow-ups with Tajwan and Trey. So we'll have to watch that closely.
So Tajwan and Trey.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be interesting because they're both likable people, and Trey is guilty of selling out for a rose.
Yeah.
I think Riley and Marissa are like, they must be just a couple. So it's not like, because I thought maybe Marissa and Riley would go out and have a nice time, and then I still wanted, Tajwan to have a chance to like really, but like I can't see Riley.
Yeah, I think that is a done deal.
But like, yeah, Tajwan's not into Trey that much, right? Like, yeah, he's a.
No, you can tell she's not. No.
So,
and he's not into her.
Yeah. Well, good. That's fun. Like, it's gonna get messy. Yeah. Lance, thanks so much for joining us. Can you, all the stuff that you're working out outside of being a great host on Bachelor in Paradise, can you let all the people know where they can find you, all the work you're doing, and all that fun stuff?
Yeah, I'm very easy. You can follow me on all my socials at Lance Bass, or on TikTok it's at Lance. Yes, I got the name at Lance, and I'm very proud of that. And then my show Unicorn Hunters is airing now, so just go to unicornhunters.com to see all our episodes. It's a kind of a new Shark Tank show, searching for billion-dollar companies, and it's fun. I get to nerd out business-wise.
That's awesome. Lance, can't thank you enough. We look forward to seeing you next Monday night on Bachelor in Paradise. Thanks, guys, for listening. Appreciate you tuning in. We are back tomorrow with the hilarious Matt King. Don't miss that episode. And if don't forget to send your questions at asknick@castme.com for Ask Nick episodes. Make sure you follow Lance. Send him a nice congratulatory note for the
support me. Yeah, because Batch Nation is Batch Nation is very volatile at times. So
yes,
when new people like me come in, it's like
be
scary.
nice.
My gosh, they're gonna hate me.
Lance, we love you. I feel your pain. They are a passionate bunch. Mm-hmm. And I guess I take their passion over them not giving a fuck, but it's not always easy in this group. No. I thought you did a wonderful job. Can't wait to see you next Monday night, and really appreciate you taking the time to break down these two episodes with us. So really appreciate it, buddy.
Anytime. Thanks, Nick.
Thanks for listening, guys. We will see you back tomorrow. Hey guys, thanks for watching, but before you go, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss any future videos, like our Monday's Ask Nick, especially if you're looking for some relationship stories and relationship advice, as well as our Wednesday interviews with your favorite celebrities and experts. See you next time.